So what do you do when you continuously find yourself feeling frustrated, being hard on yourself, thinking and feeling like you're not making the progress that you'd like to make, or that you're not where you think you should be, when you just constantly are feeling bad about your speech and you're experiencing more and more setbacks? What do you do when this happens? My name is Michael Williams, and today I just want to briefly, hopefully, talk to you about something called the law of control and the cascading effect. The law of control and the cascading effect. So the law of control says what? It says that the more in control you feel, you believe that you are over your life, over your finances, over your future, over your relationships, over your speech, the more relaxed you feel, the better you feel about yourself, the higher your self-esteem. And guess what? The more confident you feel. The more confident you feel. And we know that when we feel more confident, we tend to speak better. We tend to speak smoother when we feel more confident. Whatever reason you might feel confident in that moment, you'll tend to speak better. So I want to just give you one or two very, very basic applications of this law of control. One would be to initiate, to be proactive. So, for example, rather than waiting for someone to ask you what your name is, you go and you give your name first and you ask them what their name is. So now you're just taking control. You're being proactive. And because you took control, you'll be more likely to say your name smoother if that's an issue for you, because it's not an issue for everyone. But the idea is to create situations or take advantage of situations where you feel like you're in greater control, right? I'm going to just give you two personal examples that I used to do years ago. So a few things that I knew I could do after I'd practiced from modeling, actually, is I could record audios and then later videos. I could record those audios because I could get into a flow, right? I was in control of my own speech flow. And I have to respond to anyone. There's no one there. So you say, well, that's different than conversations and presentations. Well, yeah, it's different, but follow what I'm about to say. What it did is it allowed me to be able to speak with a good flow, to articulate my thoughts in a clear and concise manner. It allowed me to develop my speaking voice and my speaking style without any interruptions. Right? So it did all of these things. It allowed me to kind of hear myself speaking well, which impacted and imprinted my identity of who I was as a speaker. So all these benefits and more, and I had control over it. So it was helping me. So then what else did I do? Well, I would go out and I would practice and prepare these presentations. I'd go out and go volunteer to speak at colleges. Say, hey, I've got this wonderful presentation. It's about 30 minutes long or longer on goal setting, time management, something that all college students need. So they'd say, yeah, sure. Come on in. We'll bring in a group of college kids and you can have at it. So back then I wasn't as interactive as I am now when I'm speaking with an audience. So I would just get in there and just do it, speak for 30 minutes or longer straight, without any hesitation, completely fluent. So what did that do? Well, that increased my confidence because I had complete control over that situation. Now, if they asked me a question, which people would, I was able to answer it because I was in a position of control. So by doing that, putting myself under super high pressure, sometimes it'd be 50 or 100 or 75 people there, whatever, I still felt confident because I was in control, all right? Now, here's where the cascading effect comes in. Because I did that, and I knew that I could do it, and I knew that I could do it extremely well, that the confidence that came about as a result of me performing and doing well cascaded into other speaking situations, ones that might not have been as high pressure, or ones that were as high or higher, like interviews or conversations with people in authority. So I would just remind myself, hey, you were able to do this in front of a large group, you can do this here in front of one person. You can have better conversation. So the confidence cascaded into other areas of my life. So here's something I want to caution you. As you're building your speech, you're building your new speaking style, you're probably not going to be as fluent and as smooth and clear and calm and confident in every potential context, every high stakes speaking situation, every speaking. Right? You're going to grow at differing levels depending on the context. It's completely normal, right? But the higher the pressure that you put yourself under and the greater control you have, this is why it's important to especially initially, right, for who knows how long, but create situations, take advantage of situations where you feel like you have more control. And by doing that and by performing well, not perfectly, but you can perform in an excellent manner without being perfect. By doing that, then you'll build your success, you'll build your confidence, which will then cascade into those other speaking situations. Okay. So then what you'll find is that then when you're ordering something through the drive-thru, or you're going in and you're ordering off a menu, or you're having a conversation, a group conversation, you'll know that you have the ability to speak well because you've done it. You've done it in different speaking situations, high pressure speaking situations. And all you have to do there is self-talk and remind yourself, hey, I know I can speak well. I did it over here. I did it back then. I did it over there. So I can do it now. And I'm in control. I don't have to rush. I don't have to respond right now in this way. I don't have to respond with these exact words. I can do it this way. I've told this story many times. And this is the epitome of feeling pressured, right? So a long time ago, I was a first lieutenant, was in charge of a platoon, and had to bring them to attention. And the way we do it is we get up in front of that platoon and we say, "Attention," right? Well, guess what? I couldn't say it one time. So I had to call my platoon sergeant up, and I didn't try to push it out or anything because that would have been worse. Nothing was coming out. The air was cut off. So I called my platoon sergeant up. I said, "Can you go ahead and call them to attention for me?" "Yes." "Okay." And then I left. So then I explained to the captain, right, and also to my colleagues, to the people who were in that platoon, I explained what happened. And then I looked and I said, okay, that can't happen again. I have to be able to call my platoon to attention. So I just figured out a way to say attention that would allow me to say it smoothly. So I changed the way I said it. So now here's one word that I have to say. I can't really add any words to it, right? So some of you say, well, what happens if you can't? And you have to, well, you can still change the way that you say it. It's all has to do with your mental approach. And this has to do with the law of flexibility. Okay, there's still some options here in how I say this. So I said, oh, yeah, oh. Right. So I said it with a little flavor, a little more dramatically, which people do all the time. And by changing my vocal cords and the way that I said it with some flavor and style. And once I started doing that, there was never any problem again. I was always able to call my platoon to attention, right? So that's an example of, wow, okay, normally you'd feel like I'm backed into a corner. There's only one way to say this. There's only one word. No, there's different ways I can say that one word, even though I might not be able to say other words. So this law of flexibility comes in there, which I didn't talk about in this video, but I have talked about in lots of other videos. And the law of flexibility simply says the more options you believe you have, the freer you feel, the more relaxed you are, the more confident you feel, right? This goes nicely with the law of control. It says the more in control I feel that I am, the more relaxed, the calmer, the more confident I feel, right? So once you understand that you have options, and you understand that you can take advantage of those options in the moment, right? Then you want to go out and create those situations. You want to be proactive. You want to initiate so that you feel like you're in greater control, and then you allow those successes to cascade into other areas of your life. Love to hear your comments and feedback on this. And once again, my name is Michael Williams. If you're watching this video, YouTube, Spotify, go ahead and like it, subscribe. Also, you want to check out our free 15-minute speech assessment, but only if you're ready to move forward with your speech. And we have a couple of great options. We have our private coaching, and we have our self-study, which also includes our virtual Speech Masters Club, where you get to put into practice under pressure in a safe environment where you get support and feedback. Okay, put into practice what you're learning. Safe, secure, supportive environment. Thanks again for watching this video. Look forward to seeing you soon.